Hello and welcome to this video explaining question 1-73 of chapter 1. So the question asks us to use interval notation to state the domain and range of each of these two functions below. So you probably know by now that interval notation is just simply a method of writing down any set of numbers. And like typically it's just used to describe like a span or a group of spans of numbers like along an axis, like the x-axis in this case. So so for this, let's just look at part A quickly. So clearly we see that the function has no discontinuities in this span right here, and so we can just, and since we don't see any limits here, we can just say that the domain, which is the set of x values for which this function is defined, is from negative infinity to infinity. So let's just write that down. For part A, the domain is from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, and then so the range is a little bit different because we see clearly that right here at y equals 4 is a maximum point, and right here at y equals -2 is a minimum point. So since we don't see the graph going beyond those points, either higher than the y equals 4 or lower than y equals -2, we will say that the range is from -2 to 4. And notice that I put brackets around the range but not the domain, and that is because for the range, which is -2, 4, these numbers are included. So when the numbers are included, you put brackets, and when they're not, and obviously negative infinity is not like really a finite number, so you put the parentheses. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you gained a better understanding of how to do this problem. Oh, sorry, I forgot about part B. So for part B, let's look at the graph real quick. So here, obviously, you can tell that the domain is not going to be negative infinity to infinity, because there is an x value for which this function is not defined, and you can probably see by now that it's at x equals 2. The function is not defined because the limit as x approaches as x approaches to from the right and from the left is different. From the right it goes to infinity, from the left it goes to negative infinity. So right here you have an asymptote, and the function is not defined at x equals 2. So for the domain, for part B, we can go ahead and say that it is, so from negative infinity all the way up to x equals 2, the function is defined. So the domain is negative infinity to 2, but at 2 it is not defined, so we put the parentheses, and then the u to join, the u is basically used to join the two sets. Okay, so from 2 to infinity the function is defined, which we can see from 2 to infinity the function is defined but not defined at 2. That is why there are parentheses around the infinity and around the 2. Okay, and then let's see, for the range, if you take a look, the function is defined from negative infinity all the way to 0, not defined at 0. We can draw an asymptote here, a horizontal asymptote, and then all the way from 0 to infinity. So again, we'll use the same process that we did for the domain, and the range will be from negative infinity to 0, u joining 0 to infinity. Okay? Yep, and now that is actually it for this problem. I hope you learned how to determine the domain and range from the graph of a function. Thank you.